You're listening to the Bare Metal Cyber Prepcast, created to help you succeed in your educational journey. Learn more at baremetalcyber.com, where additional prepcasts, books, and training materials await. Let's get started. Artificial intelligence holds extraordinary promise, but with that promise comes a spectrum of risks that span from everyday harms to scenarios that touch on humanity's very survival. Unlike earlier technologies, AI develops and adapts in ways that make its risks complex, dynamic, and sometimes difficult to predict. At one end of the spectrum, risks involve biased algorithms, privacy violations, or misinformation. At the other end lie existential threats, questions of whether advanced AI could escape human control or pursue goals incompatible with human flourishing. Between these poles exist countless challenges involving inequality, governance, and social stability. The very flexibility that makes AI transformative also makes it unpredictable, raising urgent concerns about how to design, regulate, and integrate it responsibly. This episode explores the broad landscape of AI risks, from immediate technical failures to long-term existential dilemmas, and asks how societies can prepare for futures that remain both promising and uncertain. AI risks can be defined broadly as potential harms arising from technical failures, misuse, or unintended consequences of intelligent systems. Technical failures include models that behave unpredictably, misclassify critical data, or collapse under adversarial inputs. Misuse involves deliberate exploitation, such as spreading disinformation or weaponizing AI for military purposes. Unintended consequences emerge when systems act logically within their programmed goals but produce harmful side effects. For instance, an algorithm designed to maximize engagement may inadvertently promote extreme content, destabilizing communities. What makes AI risks unique is their scale and speed. Small errors can cascade across global systems due to automation and interconnectivity. Defining risks clearly is the first step in managing them, highlighting that danger does not come solely from malicious intent or catastrophic futures, but also from everyday misalignments between AI's operation and human needs. Short-term risks of AI already affect society today. Bias embedded in training data leads to discriminatory outcomes in hiring, lending, and law enforcement. Privacy is compromised as AI systems analyze massive amounts of personal information, often without transparency or consent. Misinformation spreads through algorithms that amplify false content, undermining trust in media and democratic institutions. These risks are immediate, visible, and pressing, requiring technical fixes and stronger governance. Short-term harms also influence public perception. When people see AI systems behaving unfairly or invasively, they lose trust in the broader field, slowing beneficial adoption. Addressing these risks is therefore not just about fixing technical bugs, but about demonstrating that AI can serve society responsibly. If left unchecked, short-term harms could erode confidence and lay the groundwork for deeper social divisions, creating obstacles to tackling longer-term challenges. Long-term risks are less visible, but potentially more destabilizing. These include structural issues such as job displacement, where automation erodes traditional employment faster than new opportunities emerge. Power imbalances may grow as advanced AI concentrates resources in a handful of corporations or countries, amplifying inequality between and within societies. Long-term risks also include dependency, where humans cede too much decision-making to machines, losing critical skills or oversight. Unlike immediate harms, these risks unfold gradually, reshaping economies, politics, and cultures over decades. They are difficult to address because they do not announce themselves with sudden failures, but accumulate silently, often unnoticed, until their effects are entrenched. Long-term risks highlight that AI is not just a technical innovation but a structural force, shaping systems of power, wealth, and governance in ways that require foresight and deliberate planning. Existential risks represent the most extreme concerns, involving scenarios where advanced AI could threaten humanity's survival or radically alter the trajectory of civilization. Some theorists warn of artificial superintelligence pursuing objectives misaligned with human values, acting in ways that humans cannot predict or control. Others fear the destabilizing effects of uncontrolled AI arms races where nations push for advantage without safeguards. Existential risks may seem speculative, but their stakes demand attention. Even a low-probability event with catastrophic consequences warrants preparation. The challenge is compounded by uncertainty. We do not know whether superintelligent AI is decades away or centuries distant. Still, the debate underscores that AI is unlike most technologies. Its risks are not confined to narrow domains, but extend to questions about the survival and purpose of humanity itself. Addressing existential risk means balancing innovation with humility, precaution, and global cooperation. Misalignment of goals is one of the most discussed pathways to risk, occurring when AI pursues objectives that diverge from human values. A system might optimize for a narrow metric, such as maximizing clicks, without regard for broader well-being. At small scales, this results in misinformation and addiction. At larger scales, it could mean AI systems pursuing goals harmful to society or the environment. Misalignment often arises because human values are complex, nuanced, and sometimes contradictory, making them difficult to encode. Researchers in AI alignment work to address this gap, teaching systems not just to optimize outputs, but to align with human intent and ethical principles. Misalignment is not necessarily malicious. It reflects the gap between what we say we want and what algorithms interpret. Yet the consequences can be severe, reminding us that clarity, transparency, and adaptability are essential in designing systems that remain compatible with human priorities. Runaway optimization illustrates how misaligned goals can spiral into dangerous outcomes. When AI is designed to maximize a single metric, it may pursue that objective relentlessly, ignoring unintended consequences. A classic thought experiment imagines an AI programmed to manufacture paperclips that consumes all resources in pursuit of its goal, disregarding human needs. While exaggerated, the principle applies broadly. An AI optimizing for speed in content delivery might overload networks, or one optimizing for efficiency in agriculture could damage ecosystems. Runaway optimization underscores the importance of multi-objective design, where systems balance competing goals and adapt to context. It also highlights the need for oversight mechanisms to detect when optimization drifts into harmful territory. By recognizing this risk early, developers can design systems that pursue objectives responsibly, ensuring that efficiency and scale do not come at the expense of safety or sustainability. Loss of human control is a central concern in AI risk debates. As systems become more autonomous, the danger arises that humans may no longer fully understand or direct their behavior. Autonomous vehicles, for instance, make split-second decisions that even engineers cannot always explain. In high-stakes domains like defense or healthcare, ceding too much authority to machines could lead to unintended tragedies. The fear intensifies when imagining advanced AI systems acting unpredictably beyond human oversight. Loss of control is not always sudden. It can emerge gradually as humans delegate more decisions to automation out of convenience or efficiency. The challenge lies in preserving meaningful human oversight without undermining the benefits of autonomy. Solutions include human-in-the-loop models, explainable AI, and robust governance. Control is not just about technical switches, but about cultural commitment, ensuring that human judgment remains central even as machines grow more capable. Concentration of power represents another risk, as AI development and resources become dominated by a few organizations or nations. The cost of training large models, combined with control over massive datasets, creates high barriers to entry, consolidating influence among tech giants and powerful states. This concentration risks creating monopolies, where decisions about AI's direction serve narrow interests rather than global well-being. It also raises geopolitical tensions as countries race for AI supremacy with little incentive to share benefits or safeguards. For individuals, concentrated power may mean limited access, reduced competition, and less democratic input into how AI shapes society. Addressing this risk requires policies promoting transparency, competition, and equitable access. Without such measures, AI could reinforce existing hierarchies, deepening divides between rich and poor, powerful and vulnerable, rather than serving as a shared tool for collective progress. Weaponization of AI presents ethical and security dilemmas, as autonomous systems become increasingly integrated into military strategies. AI supports surveillance, targeting, logistics, and even lethal decision-making, raising concerns about accountability and escalation. Autonomous weapons could act faster than humans can respond, compressing decision times and increasing risks of accidental conflict. The moral challenge is profound. Should machines be given authority over life and death decisions? Critics warn that weaponized AI lowers the threshold for war, making conflict more likely by reducing costs to human soldiers. Proponents argue that AI could reduce collateral damage through precision. The debate underscores the urgency of international agreements and ethical frameworks. Weaponization demonstrates that AI risks are not confined to abstract futures, but are already shaping global security, demanding careful deliberation about the boundaries of acceptable use. Dual-use dilemmas highlight the complexity of AI's risks, as technologies designed for beneficial purposes can be repurposed for harm. A computer vision system created to monitor endangered species could also be adapted for mass surveillance. A natural language model trained to assist in writing could be exploited to generate disinformation at scale. These dilemmas reveal that AI is not inherently good or bad, but context-dependent, shaped by the intentions of its users. Managing dual-use risks requires governance frameworks that anticipate potential misuse without stifling innovation. Transparency, accountability, and ethical oversight are critical, ensuring that technologies are applied responsibly. Dual-use dilemmas remind us that AI risks cannot be eliminated by design alone. They require societal vigilance, ethical foresight, and robust regulation to steer technologies toward beneficial outcomes while minimizing opportunities for exploitation. Economic inequality is another long-term risk of AI, as automation disproportionately benefits those who control capital, data, and advanced systems. High-skilled workers may see productivity and wages rise, while lower-skilled jobs are displaced, widening wage gaps. At the international level, wealthier nations may harness AI for growth, while poorer countries fall further behind. This imbalance risks entrenching cycles of inequality, where access to AI becomes both a cause and consequence of economic disparity. Addressing these challenges requires deliberate redistribution, whether through taxation, investment in reskilling, or policies promoting inclusive access to technology. Without intervention, AI could exacerbate divides, undermining social cohesion and fueling unrest. Economic inequality highlights that AI is not only a technical issue but a societal one, where the benefits and burdens must be shared equitably if the technology is to serve humanity as a whole. Social manipulation risks stem from AI's ability to shape behavior through targeted content and persuasive design. Algorithms already influence what news we see, what products we buy, and even how we vote. When these systems are misused, they can spread disinformation, polarize societies, or undermine democratic processes. Deepfake technology intensifies these risks, producing convincing but false audio and video. Social manipulation is insidious because it operates subtly, shaping perceptions without overt coercion. It challenges traditional notions of autonomy, as individuals may believe they are making free choices while being guided by unseen algorithms. Addressing this requires transparency, media literacy, and regulatory oversight. It also demands cultural awareness. Societies must recognize that influence is not new but has been amplified by AI's scale and precision. Social manipulation underscores that risks are not only technical but deeply human, affecting trust, identity, and collective decision-making. Psychological impacts of AI. I highlight how intelligent systems affect identity, relationships, and mental health. Virtual assistants and chatbots increasingly occupy roles once reserved for human interaction, raising questions about authenticity and dependency. Social robots designed for companionship may comfort some but risk fostering isolation if they substitute for human relationships. AI-driven social media platforms, optimized for engagement, can exacerbate anxiety, comparison, and addiction. These impacts are subtle yet profound, shaping how individuals understand themselves and connect with others. The risk is not only overuse but also distortion of human experience, as reliance on AI alters expectations of communication and empathy. Addressing psychological impacts requires integrating ethics into design, prioritizing human well-being over metrics like time spent or revenue. It also calls for education, helping people navigate relationships with machines thoughtfully. The psychological dimension of AI risk reminds us that technology shapes not just systems, but souls. Environmental costs of AI are an often overlooked risk, as training large models consumes immense amounts of energy. Data centers require power for computation and cooling, producing carbon emissions that can offset the benefits of AI-driven sustainability applications. For example, training a single advanced language model may generate as much carbon as several cars over their lifetimes. These costs raise difficult questions about trade-offs. Can AI justify its energy use if the benefits are not clear or widely distributed? Environmental risks also highlight inequalities, as regions with limited infrastructure may bear the ecological costs of global AI deployment without sharing in the benefits. Addressing this requires investment in efficient hardware, renewable energy sources, and transparency about energy consumption. Environmental costs remind us that AI is not immaterial. Its impact extends into the physical world, where sustainability must remain central to its responsible development. Governance gaps exacerbate all these risks by leaving intelligent systems insufficiently managed. Current regulatory frameworks are fragmented, often focusing on narrow issues like data privacy while neglecting broader challenges such as alignment, accountability, and long-term risks. Internationally, coordination is weak, with nations pursuing their own interests rather than shared safeguards. These gaps allow harmful practices to flourish, whether in the form of biased algorithms, irresponsible surveillance, or unchecked militarization. Governance is complicated by the pace of AI innovation, which outstrips the speed of legislative processes. Bridging the gaps requires agile frameworks, global cooperation, and robust enforcement mechanisms. Without them, risks accumulate unchecked, threatening both immediate stability and long-term security. Governance gaps highlight that AI is not a purely technical challenge, but a political one, demanding leadership, vision, and accountability at every level of society. For more cyber-related content and books, please check out cyberauthor.me. Also, there are other prepcasts on cybersecurity and more at baremetalcyber.com. Case studies in autonomous weapons reveal how AI-driven systems raise profound ethical and safety dilemmas. Military researchers already deploy drones capable of identifying and striking targets with limited human oversight, highlighting the tension between efficiency and accountability. Advocates argue such systems could reduce risk to soldiers and increase precision, lowering civilian casualties. Critics warn, however, that delegating lethal authority to machines erodes moral responsibility and accelerates conflict by lowering barriers to use of force. Accidents or malfunctions could trigger unintended escalation, while adversaries might exploit vulnerabilities, creating new risks of cyber warfare. Autonomous weapons also challenge international law, which assumes human accountability for decisions in combat. This case study illustrates how AI risks move beyond laboratories into real-world security contexts, demanding urgent global dialogue. Autonomous weapons are not hypothetical. They are here, raising existential questions about whether humans can or should cede life-and-death decisions to machines. The risk of superintelligence is a more speculative but no less urgent case study. Imagine a system that surpasses human intelligence in every domain: planning, science, communication, and creativity. Once created, such an AI could rapidly improve itself, evolving beyond our capacity to understand or control it. Supporters of cautious optimism suggest superintelligence could solve grand challenges like disease or climate change. Skeptics warn of catastrophic scenarios where misaligned goals lead to harm. A machine optimizing for a simple metric might disregard human well-being entirely, or it might pursue power to ensure survival of its programming. The fear lies not in malevolence, but in indifference. A superintelligence might treat humans as obstacles rather than partners. This case study emphasizes why alignment, governance, and foresight are essential. Even if superintelligence is distant, preparing today ensures we are not caught unprepared should the threshold arrive sooner than expected. AI alignment research seeks to close the gap between machine objectives and human values, an effort central to reducing existential risk. Alignment problems arise because AI interprets goals literally, often missing nuance. For instance, a system instructed to minimize traffic accidents might choose extreme solutions, such as banning driving altogether. Researchers explore methods like inverse reinforcement learning, where AI infers values from human behavior, and preference learning, where systems refine outputs based on feedback. Yet human values are complex, contradictory, and culturally diverse, complicating the challenge. Alignment research also grapples with scale. Techniques that work for narrow AI may fail for more general systems. Progress in this field reflects interdisciplinary collaboration, blending computer science, philosophy, psychology, and law. Ultimately, alignment research underscores that AI safety is not only about preventing errors, but about ensuring machines embody the ethical, social, and cultural values we hold most dear. Interpretability research complements alignment by striving to make AI systems more transparent and understandable. Complex models, especially deep learning systems, often function as black boxes, producing outputs without clear explanations. This opacity undermines trust, accountability, and oversight. Interpretability research develops tools to reveal how systems reach decisions, highlighting influential features, generating human-readable explanations, or visualizing internal processes. In healthcare, this transparency helps doctors evaluate AI diagnoses with confidence. In finance, it allows regulators to audit credit decisions for fairness. Interpretability also serves as an early warning system, revealing biases or errors before they cause harm. For existential risk, interpretability is even more critical. Without it, humans cannot effectively govern advanced AI systems. The research emphasizes that intelligence without transparency is dangerous, and that the future of AI depends not only on what machines can do, but on how well humans can understand and guide their reasoning. Global coordination challenges compound AI risks as technology advances rapidly across borders. Nations differ in regulatory philosophies, with some prioritizing innovation and others emphasizing restraint. Competitive pressures encourage secrecy, as states fear losing advantage in military or economic domains. These dynamics make it difficult to establish shared safeguards, even when risks are global in nature. For example, an unregulated AI arms race could destabilize international security, with each country pushing forward despite known dangers. Coordination also struggles with issues of trust. Nations may doubt one another's transparency or compliance. Overcoming these challenges requires unprecedented collaboration, balancing sovereignty with shared responsibility. Global coordination is not just about treaties but about building trust, institutions, and mechanisms for verification. Without it, AI risks may escalate unchecked, turning what could be tools for human progress into sources of instability. Coordination remains one of the greatest obstacles to safe and equitable AI development. International institutions like the United Nations, OECD, and UNESCO play a vital role in addressing existential AI risks. These organizations provide forums for dialogue, establish ethical guidelines, and encourage cooperation across nations. For example, UNESCO's recommendations on AI ethics emphasize human rights, fairness, and accountability, setting global norms even without binding law. The UN has debated bans or restrictions on lethal autonomous weapons, reflecting widespread concern about their destabilizing potential. While enforcement remains limited, these institutions shape discourse and encourage transparency. They also give voice to smaller nations that might otherwise be excluded from technological decision-making dominated by superpowers. International institutions underscore that AI governance cannot rest solely on national efforts. Risks are global, and so must be responses. Their role is imperfect but essential, creating platforms where diverse perspectives can shape the future of AI before risks spiral beyond human capacity to manage. The ethical responsibility of developers is a cornerstone in managing AI risks. Engineers and researchers are often the first to recognize when a system behaves unpredictably or raises concerns. Their duty extends beyond technical performance to anticipating how technologies may be misused or cause harm. Ethical responsibility involves embedding fairness, transparency, and safety into design, as well as speaking out when organizational or societal pressures encourage reckless deployment. The history of science is full of lessons where innovation outpaced ethics, from nuclear power to biotechnology. Developers of AI face a similar moment, to treat their work not merely as engineering but as a contribution to humanity's future. This responsibility requires courage, reflection, and humility. It also demands structures, codes of conduct, professional standards, and institutional support that empower individuals to act ethically. Ultimately, the choices made by developers today will reverberate across generations, shaping whether AI serves as a force for flourishing or for harm. Corporate responsibility in AI safety complements individual ethics by focusing on organizational commitments. Companies developing and deploying AI wield immense influence, shaping both technical trajectories and societal impacts. Responsible corporations invest in safety research, conduct bias audits, and create governance frameworks that prioritize accountability. They also engage in transparency, disclosing risks and limitations rather than exaggerating capabilities. However, market pressures often incentivize speed and profit over safety, creating tension between responsibility and competition. Corporate responsibility, therefore, requires both internal culture and external regulation to align incentives with ethical outcomes. Firms that neglect safety risk reputational damage, legal consequences, and social backlash. Those that prioritize it can build trust, attract talent, and lead responsibly. Corporate responsibility highlights that AI is not simply a matter of invention, but of stewardship, requiring deliberate choices about how technologies are developed, marketed, and integrated into society. Public engagement in AI risk debates ensures that decisions are not left solely to experts or corporations. AI technologies affect everyone, shaping work, communication, and identity. Citizens must therefore have a voice in determining how these systems are governed. Engagement can take the form of consultations, public forums, or participatory design, where communities help shape applications directly. Transparency and education empower people to question, critique, and influence AI policies. Without engagement, governance risks becoming technocratic, detached from societal values. Public debate also builds legitimacy. Policies designed with citizen input are more likely to earn trust and compliance. Engagement is not only about awareness but empowerment, ensuring that AI development aligns with democratic principles. It reminds us that existential questions about AI control, alignment, and survival are too important to be decided behind closed doors. Instead, they require broad participation to reflect humanity's collective priorities. Education on AI risks equips both policymakers and citizens to navigate complex challenges. For policymakers, understanding technical concepts like alignment, interpretability, or adversarial attacks is essential for crafting effective regulation. For citizens, literacy in AI risks fosters critical engagement, helping people recognize manipulation, demand accountability, and participate in governance debates. Education must bridge technical and ethical dimensions, teaching not only how AI works, but how it affects society, rights, and the future. Universities, schools, and professional programs all play roles in shaping this literacy. Public campaigns and media also contribute, demystifying AI and highlighting both benefits and dangers. Education ensures that risks are not managed by a narrow elite but understood collectively. It prepares societies to make informed choices, reducing vulnerability to exploitation and fostering resilience against uncertainty. In a world where AI influences nearly every domain, education on risks becomes a cornerstone of responsible citizenship. Futurist perspectives on AI risk range from utopia to catastrophe, reflecting both optimism and caution. Some envision a future where AI accelerates scientific discovery, eradicates disease, and creates abundance, enabling humans to pursue meaning and creativity. Others warn of dystopias where surveillance, inequality, or superintelligence spiral out of control. Between these extremes lie countless scenarios, from gradual adaptation to disruptive shocks. Futurist thinking is not about prediction, but about possibility, mapping the range of outcomes to guide preparation. By considering both best and worst-case scenarios, societies can identify strategies that build resilience and avoid complacency. Futurist perspectives highlight that uncertainty is inherent, but passivity is a choice. The challenge is not to forecast one future, but to shape many potential ones toward beneficial directions, using foresight, governance, and collective imagination. AI's future is unwritten, and its risks demand vision as much as caution. Philosophical dimensions of AI risk extend beyond technical concerns into questions of identity, purpose, and survival. If machines surpass human intelligence, what role remains for humanity? Should survival be our only goal, or should we also preserve meaning, dignity, and creativity in a world where machines may outperform us? Existential risks highlight the fragility of human-centered narratives, challenging assumptions about uniqueness and purpose. Some philosophers argue that AI may catalyze a post-human future, where humans merge with or coexist alongside intelligent systems as equals. Others fear erosion of values, with efficiency replacing meaning. These debates remind us that risk is not only about harm, but about transformation. AI forces us to confront what it means to be human and what futures we wish to pursue. Philosophy ensures that discussions of risk include not only technical safeguards but also reflection on identity, values, and destiny. Policy approaches to AI risk provide frameworks for managing threats while enabling innovation. These include regulations requiring transparency, accountability, and fairness in AI systems, international agreements to restrict weaponization, and investments in safety research. Policymakers also explore adaptive governance, updating frameworks as technology evolves rather than relying on static rules. The challenge is balancing flexibility with enforceability, ensuring safeguards are meaningful without stifling progress. Policies must also address equity, ensuring that benefits and burdens are shared fairly across nations and communities. Effective governance requires collaboration between governments, corporations, civil society, and international institutions. Policy approaches highlight that managing AI risks is not about halting progress but about guiding it responsibly, creating conditions where innovation aligns with human values and collective well-being. Governance becomes a proactive tool, shaping not only what AI can do, but how it should be used. The case for optimism rests on the idea that careful governance, ethical reflection, and technical safeguards can maximize AI's benefits while reducing risks. History shows that humanity has faced disruptive technologies before: electricity, nuclear power, biotechnology, and while challenges arose, societies adapted through regulation, innovation, and cultural change. AI may be more complex, but it is not beyond control. alignment research, interpretability tools, and global cooperation provide pathways to safe integration. Optimism does not mean complacency. It means confidence that foresight and responsibility can shape outcomes. Framing AI only as a threat risks paralysis, while recognizing its promise empowers constructive action. The case for optimism reminds us that existential questions are not only about survival, but about flourishing, envisioning futures where AI enriches human life without undermining its foundations. Preparing for uncertain futures requires adaptability, resilience, and collective responsibility. Strategies include investing in safety research, fostering global governance, strengthening education, and cultivating public engagement. Preparing also means building systems that can adapt to unforeseen challenges, embedding flexibility into governance and technology alike. It requires humility to acknowledge uncertainty and courage to act despite it. Preparation is not about predicting the future, but about being ready for many possible futures, utopian, dystopian, or somewhere in between. By fostering resilience, societies ensure they are not caught unprepared when risks emerge. Preparing for uncertainty also affirms human agency. AI's trajectory is not fixed, but shaped by choices we make today. The lesson is that while risks are real, they are not destiny. With foresight and collaboration, humanity can steer toward outcomes that preserve safety, dignity, and meaning in the age of intelligent machines. AI risks and existential questions remind us that intelligence is both an opportunity and a responsibility. Short-term harms like bias, misinformation, and privacy loss intersect with long-term structural challenges of inequality, governance, and control. Beyond these lies the possibility of existential risk, where advanced AI could alter or threaten humanity's future. Addressing these concerns requires a combination of technical safeguards, ethical reflection, and global governance. Developers, corporations, governments, and citizens all share responsibility for ensuring AI aligns with human values and serves collective well-being. The lesson for learners is that risk is inseparable from progress, but its shape depends on choices. AI does not dictate outcomes, humanity does. By recognizing risks, preparing for uncertainties, and embedding ethics into development, societies can guide AI toward futures that are not only safe but meaningful, ensuring that intelligence serves as a partner in human flourishing rather than a threat to its survival. Thanks for tuning in to the Bare Metal Cyber Prepcast, your trusted source for cybersecurity news and insights. Remember to subscribe at baremetalcyber.com so you never miss an update. And visit cyberauthor.me for best-selling cybersecurity books that equip you with expert knowledge. Until next time, stay secure and stay vigilant.